Who is most affected by scoliosis? What ages, what genders? Scoliosis is a highly prevalent spinal condition. Scoliosis causes development of an unnatural sideways bending and twisting spinal curvature. There are four main types of scoliosis cases. The most common type of scoliosis is one that affects all ages, and this is something called idiopathic scoliosis. And idiopathic scoliosis is when it's not clearly associated with a single cause. Idiopathic scoliosis accounts for 80% of all known diagnosed cases. The remaining 20% of scoliosis are associated with known causes, such as neuromuscular scoliosis, degenerative scoliosis, and congenital scoliosis. Now, the most common type of scoliosis is something called adolescent idiopathic scoliosis. This is the most prevalent type of the condition. Adolescent idiopathic scoliosis is typically diagnosed between the ages of 10 and 18 years of age. And scoliosis is the leading spinal condition amongst school-age children. We know other types of scoliosis can affect other ages as well. And we know scoliosis affects all types of ages. Babies can be born with scoliosis, and this is congenital scoliosis. And this is a result typically of some kind of malformation in the spine that happens in utero, and they're born with scoliosis, and that mal-shaped bone is causing the curvature. Infantile scoliosis is diagnosed in infants between ages of 6 and 3 years of age. And infantile scoliosis could be a congenital type of scoliosis, but it also could be an idiopathic type, meaning we don't know. And it could also be a neuromuscular type. Juvenile scoliosis is normally diagnosed between 3 and 10 years of age. And again, it can be any of those three types I mentioned: congenital, idiopathic, and neuromuscular. Adolescent scoliosis is diagnosed between 10 and 18, and this is where scoliosis gets diagnosed before skeletal maturity has been reached. And degenerative scoliosis is particularly affects adult patients, and it's normally diagnosed in patients over the age of 50 years of age. Now, females are more affected by scoliosis than males. Females are 10 times more likely to be diagnosed with adolescent idiopathic scoliosis than males of the same age. And we also know that females are 10 more likely to experience progression than males. And there are a number of theories to account why the higher prevalence of scoliosis in females, such as hormones or the earlier onset of puberty. We also know that females go through a rapid stage of puberty, like about 2 years long, where males go through a more long or slower stage of puberty or growth. So therefore, we don't know why it particularly affects females more than males, but when we look at adolescent scoliosis, it's definitely a female-dominant condition or diagnosis that tends to occur. Now, when we look at scoliosis more often being diagnosed in children, meaning that we know that this is what we associate the diagnosis of scoliosis with, but the actual rate or the percentage of patients that have scoliosis in a particular age group actually increases with age. So when we look at studies and the prevalence of scoliosis in adults, meaning it puts the rate anywhere between 12 to 20%. And we looked at one study that looked at the prevalence of scoliosis in healthy adults over the age of 60, and they found the percentage to be as high as 68% of patients over the age of 60 have some type of scoliosis. And when we look at adolescent cases, the studies say anywhere between 5% and as little as 0.5% of adolescent patients have scoliosis. So why is there such a change? Well, we know that we don't find all adolescent cases. We know a lot of adolescent cases go undiagnosed, and they go into the adult form, and the curves progress slowly in the adult form over time, and then in the adult form, it becomes big enough to become diagnosed. So what you have is all these undiagnosed adolescent cases getting diagnosed later on in life, and then you're also having all the adult onset that are kind of combining together. So as we look at every decade of life, the percentage of patients with scoliosis increases. It's definitely more dominant in females than males, like I mentioned, but as we deal with patients getting older with scoliosis, we know they're more likely to develop scoliosis as a result of the age over time. So we know scoliosis is definitely commonly associated with a childhood condition, but the rate of patients with scoliosis, like I said, increases with age. And regardless of age, gender, we know scoliosis is progressive, meaning it worsens over time. So treating it early when you find it is definitely more important than just waiting for the curve to worsen and dealing with the effects of scoliosis later on in life. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this information helpful. If you'd like to hear about other topics and information on scoliosis, type in the comments below and let us know. And finally, subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of when we publish content. Thanks.